you for driving home truth, logic, and common sense every day. We are with you.
America First. Magnificent.
Love our truck drivers. We need more of you guys to call. I know you're busy trying to save America, feed America, but we love you all. We're praying for you. That is one of my favorite liners. Thank you, Mr. G. We're in the swamp. We're in this fetid city, this rank city, which does mean we now and again get some amazing targets of opportunity who try to come here to help us drain the swamp. And when they're in town, I get a text, or Mr. G gets a text and say, yes, come on down, come into the studio. And we're delighted to have with us a good friend of the show. He is the director, the national director for Priests for Life, Father Frank Pavone, who's brought a special guest with him today, Janet Morana. Welcome, both of you, in studio.
Thank you.
Seb, thank you very much. Yeah, you know, I brought behind the scenes from the very beginning of our ministry. She has been leading the way. Priests for Life wouldn't be as successful as it is.
I thought you were the central
Well,
wall.
you know, I'm out there in front all the time.
All right, well, we've got to discuss this brand new book that you brought with you, Everything You Need to Know About Abortion for Teens. That must be an incredible challenge to talk about that for that demographic. But first, have to get your latest update, your take, Father, on where we are, the reaction to the leak. I know everybody's praying right now for the decision imminently or maybe in June.
Right.
I've read it. I actually read the document, the leaked document, on video, on audio. If you want to know what's really in it, you need to go to my Twitter feed, my Rumble, because it's an amazing document. And it's clear. It's bad law. It has to go back to the States.
Right.
There is no history of being pro-abortion in Western civilization. Do you have a sense that the justices are going to hold the line, Father? I'm
convinced that they will. When it's a matter so fundamental to the Constitution as this is, I don't see them reversing course. Justice Alito in that document doesn't only reverse Roe v. Wade, he obliterates it.
And Casey.
And Casey too.
Casey, yeah.
And shows how weak the reasoning is, how untethered from the Constitution and from the history of America, how damaging it's been. It is a masterful job. I want to urge everyone to read that document because I'm convinced that's substantially going to be the argument that comes out in the official decision.
God willing, it's up to us, guys. Now, Janet, as we were coming into the studio, you mentioned something that you both know a certain lady who for 49 years has been known as Jane Roe. Tell us who she really was, because there's a lot of misinformation about her attitude to abortion after the decision. So who is Jane Roe?
Norma McCorvey, who I could say is a personal friend of mine. I stayed at her home in Dallas. She stayed at my home in New York. Father Frank actually brought her into the Catholic Church. Fact, Norma McCorvey never had an abortion.
What?
No, never. In fact, she was taken advantage of, basically. She was basically homeless. She already had 2 babies out of wedlock that her family, one was for adoption, her mother was raising one. And over a pizza lunch, she signed for Sarah Weddington on the dotted line. She goes, oh yeah, we'll help you take care of your pregnancy. She signs on the dotted line. Do you think she spent 1 day in court? Not 1 day. Never heard from Sarah, really. And then, the day Roe v. Wade's decided, do you think your lawyer would pick up the phone and say, we won, Norma? You know how she found out? When she opened her door that morning and picked up the Dallas morning paper.
So I don't understand. What if she hadn't had an abortion, if she wasn't involved in the hearings, what was her utility to the industry of death? Why did they need her?
Well, they were looking, actually, to find someone like her, not well educated and kind of desperate situation, who just would be used like a puppet. And in fact, the companion case that day, the Doe of Doe v. Bolton, Father Frank and I know her too. Both ladies are Sandra Cano. Same thing. Her case was coming up through Georgia, while Norma's was coming up through Texas. And Sandra signed on the dotted line thinking she was getting her 2 children back out of foster care. It was her mother who wanted her to abort this child. And when Sandra found out, She left Georgia to Oklahoma to give birth to that child. She went to some other relative's home.
The truth of these things that
Yeah.
have been misrepresented for decades. Father, as the person who brought her into the church,
Yes.
I have to ask you, because the conventional wisdom, the mainstream, is that afterwards she became very pro-life, a speaker, but on her deathbed she said it was all a lie, I didn't mean any of it. What is the truth about this lady who clearly has been exploited?
Yes, well, she continued to be exploited, unfortunately, but we accompanied her not only in the public events, but behind the scenes. And as a priest, I can tell you, not only as a priest, as a friend to her, she suffered immensely, and you can't fake that. She went through the deep, deep stages of conversion, repentance, psychological guidance of the wounds that she had incurred and that she had caused, and she suffered immensely. You can't fake that. When the cameras are away,
Right.
she was not lying. She was sincere.
And, you know, in fact, Father Frank and I spoke to Norma less than an hour before she died. And she asked us and made us promise that we would continue the fight to overturn Roe v. Wade. And that night, when that document was released, I looked up and I said, Norma, we're almost there.
We're almost
going to
there.
keep our promise.
All right, so tell us about this brand new book, Everything You Need to Know About Abortion for Teens. Do they want to know?
Well, see, they need to know. That's
Yes.
the point. Because why? Planned Parenthood is preying on them in the schools, in high schools. They're on college campuses. So like it or not, they need to know about abortion. So what I do in the book, Seb, is I start back and I tell them about Norma Corby, Sandra Cano. I even tell them about Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who Father Frank and I knew. So I showed them how it was all built on lies. Then I introduced them, and this is what's great, Seb. In the middle of the book, they let me put in pictures of the unborn child, like a baby book,
Oh my
starting at
gosh.
7 weeks.
Uh-huh.
So you can't buy the lie. It's a clump of cells.
Right, when you see that, it's a
Right.
human.
And I challenge the young people, you know what? Why don't you ask your parents for your baby pictures starting from when you were in the womb? Because as you know, if you want the baby, everyone's showing the pictures.
Yeah.
If not, it's a glob of cells. So I show them the truth, and then I tell them what happens in an abortion, exactly, comparing that it's not good medicine. And then I show them the voices of the women who bought the lie from Silent No More and the damage.
One of the most powerful lines in the Alito document is how an abortion is demeaning to the doctor as well.
Yes.
Wasn't that
Yes.
powerful?
That's right. And that's one of the interests of the state, is to protect the integrity of the medical profession. Because Mississippi said, hey, we want to be able to do this. It demeans the doctor. We've worked, part of our ministry is actually working with ex-abortionists, and they are just devastated by what they do. A lot of people don't see that devastation.
The idea that you're supposed to be following the Hippocratic Oath, do
Yeah.
no
Do no
harm,
harm.
and then
Right.
you're taking the life of an unborn child. We're going to continue the discussion here on America First with our very special guests, Janet Morana and the National Director for Priests for Life, Father Frank Pavone. I'm Sebastian Gorka. This is America First, coming to you from the ReliefFactor.com studio.
The only man standing between the radical left and your cheeseburgers. It's Dr. Sebastian Gorka.
The chant is my body, my choice, remember? But not if it's vaccines and masks. That's why we created the t-shirt at our store. We played on that Planned Parenthood image and we said, my body, my choice, be free, no mandates. Send a message to those around you that you believe in bodily autonomy, especially for the unborn. We're continuing our discussion with the Executive Director for Priests for Life. It's Janet Morano, and the National Director, Father Frank Pavone. I'm going to ask a very simple question. You've got your brand new book, Everything You Need to Know About Abortion. We've got 3 million listeners, plus everybody else on the podcast and who watches the video. What can those people do? Do they just sit back and pray, or can they be part of this war for the unborn?
They must be part of the war for the unborn, and I really want them all showing up in November and voting for pro-life candidates.
Yes.
Because with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it goes back to the states, and right now it's a battleground. There are some states, they love abortion, California, New York, Vermont, blah, blah, abortion to birth and beyond. And other states who have laws, trigger laws, they're going to protect the unborn, and then others who are in the middle. So this November election is going to be a defining moment in our history to permanent protection for our unborn brothers and sisters.
Right.
And the goal is so many women would never have an abortion if it's not legal.
If they knew,
If
and if
they
they saw
knew.
the pictures in this book.
Right.
Father, the role of all those who are listening and watching, what can they do to support you?
Yes, SupremeCourtVictory.com is a special website we've made about this case now, this Dobbs case, the Alito leaked opinion analysis of it, prayer campaign. They need to know what this said and what it didn't say so that they can have intelligent conversations with their brothers and sisters. So SupremeCourtVictory.com, get involved with us there. Plenty to do. And of course, Janet, abortionandteens.com for this book.
Okay, and priestforlife.org. Please support these amazing people who truly, a civilization is measured by how it protects the most vulnerable, how it treats them, and that is the elderly and it is the unborn. Lastly, are you feeling confident, Father?
I am, very much so. This is the culmination now of 50 years of incredible work, prayer, sacrifice on behalf of many, many, tens of millions of Americans. And we're going to see a great victory in the next few weeks.
Janet, you feel confident?
Oh, absolutely. I do. Just the justices themselves saying, we will not be bullied, if you've been watching their statements.
Right.
And you know what? Whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, you should be more upset that our judicial system was under attack by that leak. Everyone should be upset about that.
Exactly. Assaulting our constitutions, picketing outside the private homes of the judges
terrible.
in the highest court in the land. The book is everything you need to know about abortion for teens, Janet Morano, and you've got to go to SupremeCourtVictory.com. Next, we're going to analyze everything you need to know about what happened in Pennsylvania in the primaries last night with a very special correspondent who knows exactly what he's talking about. I'm Sebastian Gorka. This is America First. Don't forget, you can find out all the episodes past, all the new ones. You can find them at Spotify. Plug in my name, Sebastian Gorka. Subscribe today. It's free. Write a review. Share the links. We'll be back after these messages. Friends, if you want more, if you want stuff that is not available anywhere else, exclusive content, which isn't just about politics and breaking news, but lots of much more fun stuff, go to my private community, which includes direct access to me, Dr. G. Go to gorka.locals.com today. Join our growing family. That's GORKA.locals.com. You won't regret it. Join us today.